European Union and will be implemented by the Pan American Health Organization in collaboration with the government of St. Martin. My name is Nicola Taylor. I am the Program Management Specialist for Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, Bonaire, Saba, and St. Eustatius, and I'm based in the PAHO office in Trinidad and Tobago. And I will be your moderator for today's virtual launch. All of us can relate to the impact that public health emergencies can have and continue to have on our small countries in the Caribbean. As we all know, to respond adequately to disasters or public health emergencies, a resilient health sector is vital. This project is a major step in the right direction. With that, I'd like to introduce our very first speaker, Mr. Fernando Pons Canto, head of the European Union delegation, responsible for St. Martin, who will bring remarks on behalf of the European Union. Mr. Pons Canto, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Honorable Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs, Honorable Minister Paneflek, honorable distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the delegation of the European Commission, I want to thank you, first of all, for this possibility to exchange a few views with you and to have an exchange, and most particularly, most importantly, to launch this important project today. I was one of the people lucky enough to visit your country before COVID. I took up my position in September 2019, and I'm very happy that one of the first things that I did is to visit your beautiful island. I don't need to tell you how beautiful it is, but I was also impressed by the determination to improve some things that needs to be improved. And I was also happy to be able to congratulate Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs a few weeks later for her electoral success. Let me reiterate that congratulations today. The project that we are launching today is actually very, very big. It is 7 million euro, which for both for St. Martin and for the European Union is a more than respectable amount, but it is really needed and it is really necessary. We want to enhance the capacity of St. Martin to prevent, cope with, and also address post-catastrophe needs. We are fully aware in the European Union of the particular fragility and vulnerability of St. Martin and of many other Caribbean islands. St. Martin has been devastated already by 2 hurricanes recently, and I could see during my visit still very much the scars and the legacy, the very difficult legacy of those major catastrophes. We are fully aware that when that happens, it's a cosmic event for your island. For us, it would be also the equivalent of having 80% of our economy destroyed in one day or in a few days' time. So that's why we have made this particular effort to provide those emergency funds, because that's what they are, under the 11th EDF program. And as you know, this is what we call the envelope B in our jargon. Well, what really matters is that the project that we are launching today will make a difference, I'm sure, in the lives of people of St. Martin, which is what we ultimately want. 6.35 million will be channeled through a contribution agreement with PAHO, who, by the way, is one of our closest partners, not only here, but globally. And another 650,000 will cover support measures, such as technical assistance services to St. Martin for capacity building and structuring its disaster response mechanism. We want, in particular, to address, through the agreement with PAO, the needs for extra shelter options, because we know that the shelters that existed were either destroyed or simply missing. With many people, that means that many people would not have a safe home in case another disaster strikes. Of course, we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. And therefore, I want to say also, perhaps to conclude, that this is fully in line with the priorities of the European Union, and in particular, to build resilience and to help our friends and partners to build resilience. Resilience and disaster preparedness are also a focus area of the Overseas Association decision that, as you know, is the guiding document of the relations between the European Union and the overseas countries and territories. The delegation of the European Union in Guyana is, as you know, responsible for the 7 European overseas countries and territories in the Caribbean. 6 of them are part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in one way or another, with different status, of course. And with all those 6, we have, including, of course, St. Maarten, we have significant volume of aid. But I dare say that the volume of the package that we are launching today, it is really very unique. And I'm very happy for that because, as I said, I visited your island. I met many of you, including the Prime Minister, and I could understand that this is badly needed. So on behalf of the European Union, we are very pleased to embark on this new program, and also with the help of the PAHO extensive expertise. And the ultimate objective, as I said, is it will be to make a difference in the lives of the people of St. Maarten, in particular, in case another major disaster strikes. It is worth it, it is important, and I am very happy and grateful that we are all here celebrating that today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ponscanto, for your remarks. Over the years, as you know, PAHO and WHO have entered into several agreements with the European Union, fostering the cooperation to address complex health challenges in our region. And we have always and continue to see the European Union's continued commitment to helping our countries in this particular region. So we're very grateful for the assistance and the collaboration. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Erica Wheeler, who is the Pan American Health Organization and World Health Organization representative for the Trinidad and Tobago office. She also has responsibility for St. Maarten. And after her remarks, Dr. Wheeler will also be introducing the remarks from Dr. Carissa Etienne, the director of the Pan American Health Organization, who unfortunately could not join us for this launch, but has sent her taped remarks. So Dr. Wheeler, you now have the floor.
Thank you. Honorable Silvera Jacobs, Prime Minister of St. Maarten, Honorable Richard Panafleck, Minister of Health, Social Development and Labor, Mr. Fernando Ponscanto, Head of the European Union Delegation responsible for St. Maarten, other government ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning once again. The Pan American Health Organization has had a long-standing relationship with St. Maarten from as far back as the 1960s, when the country was part of the Netherlands Antilles. St. Maarten, of course, now is currently an associate member of PAHO. As you may know, PAHO is a specialized international agency for the Americas, and we also serve as the regional office for the World Health Organization. Our organization is committed to ensuring that all people have access to the healthcare they need with quality and without fear of falling into poverty. Through its work, PAHO promotes and supports the rights of everyone to good health. It is in this capacity that PAHO undertakes technical cooperation within St. Maarten. Even though this technical cooperation has varied over the years, It is always based on the health priorities of the country. Over the last 5 years, this technical cooperation has focused on the strengthening of health systems, which now more than ever must continue to place an even greater focus on building resilience, encompassing the revised essential public health functions. These revised essential public health functions, published late in 2020, focus on the need to address the problems and challenges facing health systems and offers guidance on policies to ensure that these health systems have the capacity to respond and adapt to immediate and short-term risks to the health of a population. In addition, access to universal health and universal health coverage allows us to invest in health and promote health equity as we pursue access to quality, resilient health services to ensure that no one is left behind. In 2019, PAHO, in collaboration with the Health Economics Unit of the University of the West Indies, played a strategic role in assisting the government of St. Maarten with guiding the strategic direction for financial health equity in the role that it plays in universal health coverage. Currently, other critical areas for technical cooperation involves the fight against NCDs and the promotion of mental health. We have all seen the effects of these during the pandemic, where persons living with NCDs are at increased risk of becoming severely ill or even dying. The stress and anxiety associated with the threat of sickness, physical distancing, job losses, disruptions to routines, misinformation, and fake news have affected many people. This clearly demonstrates the importance of mental health. This project, which we are launching today, sees universal health as a core strategy for building resilient healthcare systems that can survive future threats and risks, whether they be biological, natural, or economic. However, as we know, the health sector cannot do it alone. National, multi-sectoral action involving government, civil society, and the private sector using a health in all policies approach and a whole of society, whole of government approaches. They must therefore be strengthened to effectively and efficiently address the social determinants of health and reduce health inequities. So disaster preparedness and response is a pivotal point for health in all policy strategy. And this project offers that opportunity for multiple stakeholders to collaboratively work in building this resilience. This project is building on PAHO's flagship initiative of smart facilities, which we are able to remain operational during and after disasters. We look forward to working with our EU counterparts and with the government of St. Maarten in the service of their people at this important time. On this note, I would like to introduce the virtual remarks that will be delivered by Dr. Carissa Etienne, our PAHO WHO Director. Unfortunately, as mentioned before, she was not able to join since she is chair, which began on Wednesday. Her remarks are focused on the importance of the smart facilities concept in the region of the Americas. I now hand you over to Dr. Etienne.
Honorable Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs, Minister of Health Richard Panifleck, other government ministers, European Union Head of Delegation for St. Maarten, Mr. Fernando Pons Canto, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. On behalf of the Pan American Health Organization, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to you for your support and commitment to building resilience, by improving emergency response and disaster preparedness for the people of St. Martin. The Caribbean is highly vulnerable to natural hazards, and much has been written about the impact of natural disasters and the effects of climate change on small island development states. These include more intense hurricanes, rising sea levels, increased temperatures, extreme rainfall, and flooding, an increased number of cases of vector, food, waterborne diseases, and non communicable diseases, the consequence of which impact also on mental health. We have already been experiencing these effects in the region with devastating consequences. I know that St. Martin knows that. The Caribbean Action Plan on Health and Climate Change of 2019 further explains, and I quote, projections indicate that climate-related threats to small island development states will continue to increase, further affecting the ability of health systems to promote and protect health, unquote. Scientists on the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, expressed serious concerns about our ability as nation states to keep global temperature rise under 1.5 degrees. The cost of doing this will be expensive, but a window of opportunity remains open. This is why the Smart Health Facilities Initiative is a step in the right direction, as it aims to make health facilities not only safer, but are also environmentally responsible by being greener. The SMART standards have now been recognized throughout the region of the Americas and have been expanded from health facilities to schools, hotels, shelters, and other government buildings. To date, over 30 health facilities have been retrofitted in the Caribbean and have achieved the SMART status. This is a truly great achievement. The development of 2 new multi-purpose SMART facilities to be delivered under this project aims to bridge the gap between climate proofing, energy efficiency, and disaster risk reduction in St. Martin. Furthermore, this work in St. Martin extends to in-country capacity building at both the governmental and the community level. This fosters long-term competencies in disaster preparedness and management that aims at achieving sustainability rather than project-based support. All of this has been made possible through this 6.5 million euro funding from the European Union, a tribute to their confidence in the PAHO WHO, and I wish to thank them for this gesture. Sometimes the best design criteria for safety are not always the most beneficial for climate adaptation and mitigation. Therefore, it is necessary to develop adapted design and construction standards for new facilities, incorporating lower energy and water use in order to help reduce the carbon footprint. And this is what the SMART initiative has been doing. We are encouraging all our countries to fully adopt the SMART approach in every sector. SMART allows for incremental implementation of the safe, healthy, and green standards in any facility, be it public or private, making them more cost-effective. The Caribbean Action, to which I have already referred, explicitly states that, and let me quote, countries must provide an overall standard of care so that their people are safe and well, but they must also be able to scale up this care when they experience a disaster. That is resilience. In St. Martin, you are well ahead of the game with one of the first new facilities to be built according to SMART standards from the beginning. Some countries speak already about smart communities and smart schools, and some countries, such as Jamaica, Guyana, Belize, St. Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia have adapted the concept as a national approach in recovery plans and disaster management and development strategies. Other countries outside of the Caribbean, such as Colombia and Fiji, have expressed an interest in the SMART concept. With the help of the European Union and other donor partners, we can continue this work throughout the region and transform the SMART initiative into a SMART movement. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the government of St. Maarten for moving in the right direction. I would also like to thank the European Union for providing the funding for this project. The European Union and PAHO have always had a long-standing relationship in assisting the countries in the Caribbean and the region of the Americas. Let me finish by underscoring that building resilience in our societies is closely linked to building resilience of our health systems based on the primary healthcare approach. This is an endeavor that PAHO is deeply committed to and to achieving in our member states as we continue to face emerging public health and natural disaster challenges that affect the health and well-being of the people in the region of the Americas. I wish you well in this endeavor. Thank you.
So, thank you, Dr. Wheeler, for those remarks that outlines PAHO's commitment to improving and protecting the people's health, especially in St. Maarten. And we heard from the director on the PAHO SMART initiative. Our next speaker is the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, Richard Panifleck. Minister Panifleck has over 30 years experience working as a civil servant and was appointed to the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor in March 2020. Over to you, Minister Panifleck.
Thank you for the introduction. Good, Mr. Fernando Canto, Dr. Erica Wheeler, and I would like to convey my regards to Dr. Etienne, Honorable Prime Minister of St. Maarten, good morning. It's with great delight I would like to address you all this morning as the Minister responsible for Public Health, Social Development and Labor on St. Maarten. I have a keen interest in this project and all that will mean for the people of St. Maarten in their best interest in time of calamity. As we all know too well on St. Maarten, and I'm sure the rest of the Caribbean, disaster can have enormous impact on our islands, and as climate change continues to unfold, the likelihood to have natural catastrophe is increasing. Disaster can cause injury and damage of infrastructure within the short span of time, but it can also cause death or displacement of people. Being prepared for the unexpected is the only way in which we can tackle these situations and manage disasters. We may not be able to avoid the situation, but we can surely minimize the impacts. Disaster management plays an important role in minimizing the effects of a disaster. It is tackling the hazards that occur before, during, and after disaster in order to minimize damage and save lives. In the event of disaster, proper preparation are essential for managing the situation and to minimize the negative effects on people. Predicting the probability of some types of disasters can help in decreasing the vulnerability of the people and in assuring the health and well-being of the people. On St. Maarten, the Emergency Operations Center is one of the key organizations within government to manage the process to address disaster. Consists of the emergency support function. The Ministry of VSA coordinates two important functions, namely health and the sheltering in case of disaster. The effects of Hurricanes Irma and Maria in 2017 have forced us to review the entire organizational process in regards to disaster management and management of the aftermath. In 2020, with the corona crisis, we have learned that it is essential to be always fully prepared for a disaster or crisis. The health and well-being of the population remain front and center. As mentioned, one of the core tasks within the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor is offering safe sheltering for those who is in need during times of disaster. Emergency shelters play a crucial role because they provide an immediate place to stay before, during, and after hurricane hits our island. Shelters work best when people can enter and exit rapidly with an appropriate level of service for their needs. Shelters are needed for survival in case of natural disasters. In our case, hurricanes. Shelter provides security, personal safety, and protection from the weather and prevents ill health and disease. Adequate housing provides people with dignity and opportunity to lead a normal life, as much as possible, naturally. Shelter should provide safe, physical, accessible spaces, as well as address some specific barriers to emergency service for people with vulnerabilities. It is the goal to provide emergency shelter services accessible to all, while recognizing the barriers and the limited resources inherent in emergency situations. The European Union is creating the opportunity for St. Maarten to build 2 shelters under the guidance of the Pan American Health Organization. Traditionally, our shelters are mostly situated in schools and churches. Now we have the opportunity to build 2 multifunctional shelters. This will also provide extra opportunities for recovery activities after a disaster. I'm looking forward to continue partnering with the Pan American Health Organization and the European Union, who introduce safe, green, and smart hospitals in the region. The same principle will apply for our 2 shelters. Shelters need to be built to resist disaster, but it is a big bonus that at the same time, shelters can be built more environmentally friendly. Smart shelters link structural and operational safety with green intervention at a reasonable cost-benefit ratio. The innovative approach will take sheltering on St. Maarten to the next level and improve the lives of the people of St. Maarten. I'm looking forward to the success completion of this project and wish all those who are involved much success in their endeavors to move this project to a completion with a 2 years time frame. This is the way that we will build resilience in the health sector, which is beneficial for the people of St. Maarten and the surrounding neighborhood. I thank you very much for the opportunity. Godspeed.
Thank you, Minister Panifleck, for those remarks on the importance of building a resilient health sector in order to prepare and respond to disasters in St. Maarten. And now we'll move on to the keynote address from the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Maarten, Ms. Silvera Jacobs. Prime Minister Jacobs is an educator dedicated to working for the people of St. Maarten with a focus on the well-being of the St. Maarten community and the general affairs of the country. She was sworn in as Prime Minister and the Minister of General Affairs on March 28, 2020. Her desire is to empower the people of St. Maarten to realize their strength in determining their own life journey and thereby changing their circumstances through education, work experience, and philanthropy. Over to you, Prime Minister Jacobs.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Ms. Nicola Taylor. Good morning to you all. Good morning, of course, the Honorable Fernando Pons-Canto, Dr. Erica Wheeler, and of course, thank you, even though recorded, for those wonderful remarks from Dr. Carissa Etienne. It gives me great pleasure to be able to give the keynote address here this morning, and I want to give thanks to the support staff of the Ministry of General Affairs in all these types of affairs, the Department of BUC, as they have done an excellent job thus far since coming into this post just over a year ago to continue to push the efforts for the St. Maarten people as it regards to getting the necessary funding through each and every possible venue. Thank you in advance of this speech. St. Maarten is an island, as you all know, located in the northeastern Caribbean region, covering approximately the part that we occupy, 16 square miles. Though 37 square miles of stunning sea and land, as well as a bright sun for most of the time, uniquely divided by two sovereign nations, and is called home to approximately 62,000 inhabitants that we know of. However, our sweet St. Maarten land, as it's commonly known, is an island that has experienced 14 hurricanes and 20 tropical storms since the 1950s. 5 of those hurricanes severely devastated the island, destroying homes and disrupting schools, halting our economy, displacing our people, and each time altering our sense of normalcy. However, those also gave us opportunity to see where we could improve. And the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season, which produced a total of 17 named storms, of which 10 became hurricanes, with 6 being major category 3 or more hurricanes, that taught us quite a lesson. And done more so than that of Hurricane Irma, a category 5 plus hurricane, which struck St. Maarten with direct force on September 6, 2017. Recording maximum wind speeds of 185 miles per hour, and with the center of the eye being a mere 3 miles away, causing total destruction. The sound of grueling noises as debris disseminated our infrastructure is still very fresh in our minds. Walking the streets as moving with cars was almost impossible right after the downed trees, the infrastructure. It was with a sense of almost hopelessness. Residents were rendered roofless or homeless, and it is estimated that it is approximately 5,000 persons were displaced after the passing of Hurricane Irma. Many stayed without water or electricity, though not as long as it was after the Luis in '95. Still, it went on for months for some. Our geographical location, right smack dab in the middle of the hurricane belt, and the understanding that hurricanes are now increasing in frequency and intensity warrants our attention and urgent action as a government, a nation, and a people. It is evident that climate change is real and is affecting our region in overwhelming ways. It is expected that due to our geographic location, the Caribbean will see a rise in sea levels, experience stronger and even more frequent hurricanes, and even longer dry seasons. Additionally, significant changes are expected with our natural resources and ecosystems as extreme events and heavy rainfall continues to threaten our coastal areas, causing flooding and landslides as well. Increasing temperatures due to global warming and rising sea levels may ultimately bring environmental, economic, and social changes to our livelihoods and imminently threaten our population. The rise in sea levels by approximately 8 inches since the 1880s, and the projection that it may rise another 1 to 4 feet by the year 2100 is definitely extremely alarming. The projections and even the projections of the visuals that creates just makes your heart rise to your throat. As if many know, the total western side of our country is a very low-lying country. As a matter of fact, it's called lowlands, and in French, basse terre or terre basse. Coastal communities are exposed to flooding, storm surges, erosion, and infrastructural damage. This may lead to migration, which will ultimately lead to economic and employment challenges on our island. Research on global warming carried out by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, has predicted that average global temperatures could increase between 1.4 and 5.8 degrees Celsius, also by the year 2100. The effects and cost of climate change. Climate change that we as a Caribbean region did not create, but its effect on our society is severe. The costs are severe, particularly for small island development states, SIDS, such as we are, as we tend to have more vulnerability due to our high dependence on the one-pillar tourism, and even so, if we can diversify, heavily dependent on imports. Today, we are proud, yet humbled, to have the opportunity to launch this project with esteemed partners such as the European Union and the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, as the oldest international health agency in the world and the arm, as was stated by Dr. Wheeler, of the World Health Organization in the region of the Americas, PAHO WHO. Both international partners understand the urgency to and are committed to making the Caribbean more resilient. And for this, I thank you. The importance of this 11th EDF Be Envelope Shelters project for the country and people of St. Maarten cannot and will not be understated. Devastating disasters affect us all. They are indeed inevitable. However, as our minister just mentioned, we must be prepared. Post-Hurricane Irma, the government, as well as various private and social organizations, stepped in immediately to assist in any way possible. There were home repair programs developed and implemented. Countless food packages and food vouchers, have been distributed. Clothing, employment drives were held, as well as assessing the needs for psychological aid, a totally multifaceted approach to assistance, which we appreciate. The people of St. Maarten were distraught and displaced at that time, but today, with projects such as these, residents can have now a renewed hope that they are not alone, that we are not alone in times of disasters. Furthermore, it is of utmost importance to ensure that the people of St. Maarten are prepared for and equipped with the necessary capacity, both of a human as well as a financial kind, as well as in buildings to be able to respond to such disasters when they inevitably hit our shores. And I heard also one of our previous speakers mention the COVID-19 pandemic. That in and of itself has also proven to be a disaster for our people. So how do we ensure that this preparedness is here for us as a nation? How can we ensure that our people are equipped to respond to the natural and other disasters in a manner that can save their very lives? The answer here is prevention, mitigation, and preparation. I must say this once more: prevention, mitigation, and preparation. As the first steps to every disaster risk management cycle, these steps cannot and should not be overlooked in the process. Prevention refers to ensuring that human action or natural phenomena does not result in disaster or emergency, while mitigation focuses on reducing the severity of the human and material damage caused by a disaster. The term preparation in the process of predicting future outcomes of an impending disaster and effectively lessening its effects. Prevention, mitigation, and preparation efforts are therefore crucial to reduce the gravity and the severity of any disaster hitting our shores and ultimately disenfranchising our people. To achieve this, we must learn from our past experiences. We must build our capacities and adequately, strategically, and vigorously prepare for the inevitable next disaster. From our experiences post-Hurricane Irma, we have learned that the people of St. Maarten are strong, are resilient, and as some old timers would say, we were knocked down, but we got right back up, picked up our Georgie bundle, and kept on walking. We came together despite nationality, color, or creed, and we were able to rise above the destruction and focus on rebuilding. Yet still today, almost 4 years later, there are, unfortunately, some who still have not been able to adequately reconstruct their homes, some who are still ill-prepared or unprotected if another disaster should strike tomorrow. These vulnerable persons in and around these areas will have access to these shelters and other services and activities provided through the multipurpose components. As a community, we must safeguard these vulnerable groups who are unable to safeguard themselves and their families through no fault of their own. And the pandemic of the past year that we still continue to experience has exacerbated that problem, has brought even more persons in a dire need. We must ensure that they too have a place where they can feel safe despite the effects during or after a disaster. We have the opportunity now to safeguard a fraction of our vulnerable population with the construction and outfitting of these multi-purpose smart shelters, which is our main goal. SMART standards ensure that health facilities can remain operational during and post-disaster and health emergencies. The multi-purpose components should speak into the specific needs of these communities, providing in-house access to services and activities that are otherwise not provided in that moment of need. The project further intends to raise awareness and increase capacities of the residents in these communities that have been specifically chosen due to their large state, due to the amount of persons living there, and of course, the vulnerable status that the majority may have. These communities deserve to be better prepared and have the disaster preparedness response, strengthen the institutional capacity to plan, monitor, and coordinate post-disaster response and reconstruction. Though as a government, we are particularly pleased that this project can now commence, I must say that the latter two outputs of this project will be of most importance, as these outputs will most likely affect the further development of the people. By raising awareness and building capacities, we will be empowering them and preparing them to better respond to disasters in the future as well. The knowledge shared will be passed on from person to person, strengthening each link in the chain. And by strengthening one, we strengthen all. And I've always said, the strength with a fist is much stronger than a finger. And we can go into all the different comparisons of how, as a group, as a united group, we are much stronger than one. It is also essential that persons who see disaster preparedness as a personal responsibility by taking the necessary preventive steps to protect their assets and renewing existing insurance policies and or preparing a viable plan B. This also includes protecting homes and businesses with stronger, more disaster resilient materials, and even clearing and maintaining the surrounding areas. Being prepared drastically improves our ability and readiness to respond to a disaster, reducing our recovery time. The government has also started looking at ways in which to improve our overall disaster management by ensuring that the effective policies are being developed and key stakeholders are adequately trained. Our Emergency Operations Center is an ongoing, growing center which sees the emergency support functions, ESF, that also has plans in place, each one to respond immediately to a disaster. These plans are consequently continuously updated and improved as we go through each year. The project, with the exception of one output, will be executed by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, with administrative support from the Ministries of General Affairs, Public Health, Social Development and Labor, as well as the Ministry of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Infrastructure and Environment, VROMI. The project has a duration of 29 months with two main vulnerable target groups, namely persons with disabilities and the elderly in the communities of Reward, also known as South Reward, and the Hope Estate area that is in the wider Soccer Garden area. It is essential that these groups actively take part in the upcoming awareness and capacity strengthening activities. And for that, we would need the collaboration and cooperation of the community leaders, community development department of VSA, and all of the stakeholders to ensure it is a success from the get-go. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the organizations responsible for this project, as well as all the other key stakeholders formally mentioned here today. True collaborations between our ministries, between the departments, and of course, with the keen eye of our ministers of Public Health, Development and Labor, Mr. Panafleck, Minister Vromi, the Honorable Egbert Duran, and myself as Minister of General Affairs will ensure that this project is seen through to the end, because in the end, it is for the benefit of us as a government, it is in the benefit of us as a people of St. Maarten, and of course, the most vulnerable in our communities, which would then have two smart locations to shelter in should the need arise. In closing, I wish to give the team my conviction that I believe that this is a goal we can achieve together. I wish you much success and strength as we look forward to the successful completion of this project. My vision for this country is that we can and we will make use of every opportunity to improve ourselves. And in this launch today, we are one step closer to being able to do so. I thank you once more and look forward to even more projects coming out of these types of collaborations with the EU, with PAHO, and other such stakeholders. Thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of the people of St. Maarten.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. We at PAHO will also like to express our thanks to your teams in the Ministry of General Affairs and the Ministry of Health in helping us to get to this point with this project. And we look forward to that collaboration that you mentioned in moving us forward. I think Dr. Wheeler is having a few challenges with her internet. So with that, I will do the closing remarks for the launch. So PAHO remains, as always, committed to the health of the people of St. Maarten, and also leaving no one behind in the quest for universal health, building resilience and ensuring health for all. We would like to thank all the speakers for their points that they were made, all of them very valid in helping us to move towards resilience and ensuring that we are able to complete this project and the building of those multifunctional shelters in the time period that we have. That is a little tight, but we will do our best to ensure that we can meet that deadline. So once again, thanks to everybody who took part this morning. And as always, as you know, PAHO is very happy to work with St. Maarten and also in collaboration with the European Union. So this actually brings us to the end of this launch. Thank you all for joining and have a good day. It's Friday, and please, please stay safe. Thank you again.
Sorry, Nicola, just before.
Oh gosh, Nikima.
Thank you so much, Nicola. I believe she wanted to organize a picture moment.
Okay, for all the panelists who are still on, all the speakers who are on, could you please turn on your cameras for me, please? I think Dr. Wheeler may be a little bit, we have a picture of her which we can always add. Minister Paniflex, oh, Dr.
There she
Wheeler
is.
is on, thank you. So if,
She can't
just,
hear.
that's okay, that's okay. If you can, for the speakers, if you can all turn on your videos. Mr. Paniflex?
And I did not remember to say, Mr. Ponscanto, I look forward, Ambassador, to you returning soon as we're rolling out our vaccination program.
Good morning, all. On behalf
Thank
of
you
the-
very much, Prime Minister.
He left
With pleasure.
to handle other related matters.
So Minister Panifleck is no longer there.
Okay, so we will take the picture now. I think one of our support team will take the picture. And we also had a picture of Minister Paniflex. So we will put all of them together so that we can have it ready and send them to you for the press release.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again and have a good afternoon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you.
Thanks.